All right, we're going to be doing some maintenance type work, I guess you could say, on this car. There's a few things we're going to take care of. We're going to replace the fuel filter, all 4 brake rotors. We're going to balance the wheels. We are going to put shock absorbers on it all the way around. I have some cruise control buttons and a replacement spare wheel and tire assembly that I'm going to put on this car. I think I might have a few other things like some bulbs or something. But wanted to give you guys a little update on this vehicle. Give you a look at it. I think we're at like 180,000 miles now or so. So let's bring it into the garage here. Let's get started on all this maintenance work. Oh, it runs so nice and smooth. Watch myself in the mirror there. Pretty well centered. Here's all of our parts: 4 brake rotors, 4 shock absorbers, 3 exhaust mounts, 2 sway bar links, some bulbs, fuel filter, cruise control buttons, and the spare tire in the back here, as you can see. A little bit of a problem here. Now the funny thing is, this didn't happen while it was in use, it happened while it was in the trunk. So it's kind of crazy. There's a replacement one. It's pretty much the exact same thing, came from a salvage yard. New one's in, got it fastened. I put the valve stem out here so we can easily check the pressure. It's all aired up, so we'll just throw this little cover over here. And there you go. There's supposed to be a little wing nut that goes on top of there to hold the cover in place, but you don't need that. The trunk light bulb has seen better days, as you can tell. So we're gonna pop that thing out of there. It's probably gonna be hot, yeah. There we go. And we'll put our new one in. Yeah, there we go, that's better. Much better. This just snaps up in here. Cruise control buttons. Probably couldn't get much easier than this. Thanks to a genius design and ease of serviceability, just 2 8mm bolts are all that you need to take out on either side of the steering wheel here. Pop these little plastic covers off and that reveals the bolts on either side, and then the whole airbag itself just comes right out. Easy, easy, easy. Then, using a 20 or 25 size Torx bit, you can remove the 4 bolts. Right here they are, that hold both button assemblies in place. Disconnect the electrical connector here, and they just come right out. I mean, how easy is that? It doesn't get much better than this. So there's that, old one's out. Throw the new ones in, just like so. Plug them in. 1. I mean, my goodness, look how easy that is. And 2. There you go. We'll bolt everything back together. We got all new cruise control buttons. Perfect. Now another lighting issue. As you can see, we have a lit up side marker bulb here, but on the other side, side marker bulb's not working. Another easy job. Thanks to Ford making this easy to get to. You will not see this on any new cars, by the way, or at least most of them you won't. There's literally a piece that you just take out and boom, access to all your bulb sockets right there. Pop the old bulb out, put the new bulb in, and it works. Done. All right, now we're going to take care of some brake rotors here, and look how simple. I mean, everything on this car is just so simple. Everything's exposed, easy to get to. Since we're replacing the shock absorbers, I got that stuff soaking in WD-40 while we're taking care of this. This original wheel bearing still spins great. There's no noise or play or stiffness or anything. Everything's perfect there. Yeah, looks great. We're gonna have 4 shiny new rotors on this thing. Now these rear rotors, because this car has been in the family its entire life, I know for a fact that these are original because these little clips here, these little retainers, are still in place. So anyway, it's pretty simple and straightforward back here. 2 10mm bolts that hold the caliper onto the bracket, and you don't even have to take the bracket entirely off because the caliper is the only thing that needs to come off to get the rear rotor off. Throw the caliper back on there, and we'll be done with this rotor. All right, now we're getting into some more fun and exciting stuff. As you guys can see here, I've got one shock absorber off the driver's side. You can be thankful because I did the driver's side first, which is more complicated, so I can easily take a video of the second side. What happened here is the top of the strut right here, this bolt or this nut here can seize or get really tight, and even with WD-40 on it and still didn't want to budge, it's really hard to get on. So I just ended up cutting it off with a torch there. Now this is tricky. I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you're experienced with a torch and you have confidence, because you are working in a tight space up there, but it does work. Be prepared for a fire to start, because this rubber bushing is going to melt pretty much instantly and catch fire. So have your little air nozzle here to blow that fire out quickly. And it works. You know, like I was saying, I wouldn't recommend doing it this way unless you have experience with it and you're confident with the torch. You can use a reciprocating saw as well. I just don't have a blade that's long enough. But this usually works, and I got the passenger side out one pretty easily. Now we're gonna go for the driver's side. Now, I'd recommend doing these one at a time because the axle seems to rest on the shock absorbers there. So I installed the one on the driver's side. As you can see, it's all done. And now we can start on the one on the passenger side here. It's disconnected from the axle on the bottom. Now we're going to cut it off from the frame at the top. Now, another reason why you need to be very careful on the driver's side is because there are fuel lines and brake lines here. Now, as you can see, I've already cut it off, and on the other side of the frame here, it didn't even get hot enough to melt that rubber bushing. So that's good. The frame protected the fuel lines, but you just want to be careful. So now we just have to knock that other piece out of there, get the top part out, let it cool down, obviously, before you try to put your new strut in, or you'll just melt the rubber bushings. And we'll be good to install it. There's the other piece. Got them out. So here on the passenger side, you can see I've got the new shock absorber in, and it kind of turned out to be the same thing on the driver's side. I'll show you here. We also put sway bar links in it while we were at it and got those done. But what ended up happening was this shock absorber nut on the top here, as you'll see, isn't wanting to come off. It just spins the whole thing. So you can see it's not coming off. And because we've got so much room in here, I'm just going to go ahead and get the cutting torch out again and just cut this one off as well, like I did on the passenger side, and it'll fall right out. Go. Got it. So there's the two bolts. You will have to reuse those. The Motorcraft shock absorbers don't come with those new bolts. Alright, well, that got it done. A little bit of fire, a little bit, oh, still got a little fire going on down here. This is just burning rubber here. There we go. There it is. Alright, the new shock absorber's in. Tighten the bolts up here. And we'll tighten the top nut down. Moving right along, next up we have these rubber exhaust hangers, and as you can see, they've seen better days. I think these back here are even worse. Yeah, there we are. That one's split in half, and this one's about to split as well. So, needless to say, this exhaust was hanging on by a thread, so to speak. And that's, because there's a lot of weight on this. There are no other exhaust hangers or supports except the manifolds up there. So this whole exhaust system is hanging on these 3 rubber hangers right here. So we're going to start with the worst one here and take it off. I'm probably just going to rip the thing. Man, still stronger than I thought. Anyways, we're going to take the old exhaust hangers off and throw some new ones on. Now here's a little tip. Spray these with WD-40 and your new exhaust hangers will go on a lot easier. Just like so. Well, the exhaust pipe's a lot more firm now, thanks to those new hangers. Got one there and one there, and our third one over here. And the other thing I thought was funny too, is it actually got a little dent here. Don't know what that came from, but the pipe now, the exhaust pipe, is not really that visible now from the back of the car. Used to be, you could see this thing hanging down, but not anymore. And this fuel filter is our last part. Only thing we have to do now is balance the wheels for a super smooth ride. Put them back on the car along with that brake rotor there on the front. We'll go drive this thing and see how it drives. Fuel filter is pretty straightforward. 2 little clips here and then a little worm gear hose clamp there that holds it in place. 10 out of 10 recommend soaking everything in WD-40 before you take it off. It just makes it that much easier. There we go. I guess we sat long enough so we didn't have any fuel pressure. It's basically the same on the other. Alright, let's see how dirty this fuel was. No, not too bad. Let's say how dirty the fuel was, how dirty the fuel filter was inside. Not too bad. And there we go. Might have a little bit of an extended crank time, but should fire right up. Slap the wheel covers on, and we are done. Can already tell a huge difference over bumps and around turns. This thing used to really have a lot of body sway, a lot of body lean to it, but not anymore. Doesn't bounce excessively either. Feels a lot better, much smoother. Get on the brakes and slow down. Doesn't shake anymore while braking. Let's get up to some highway speeds and see how our wheel balance turned out. And this steering wheel is perfectly smooth.